We are now into part 2 with Ty Loney. So welcome, Ty. How are you doing?
Doing well, Mark. Good to be back. Thanks for having me again, even though now we're partners. This is a fun thing to do, fun time. But yeah, doing well. Happy to. We're enjoying July 4th right now. So I got the America
Oh, I love it.
tank top on. So yeah, doing pretty good.
Happy 4th of July.
Thank you.
Right, let's get into it. So for those that listened to part 1, we of course went into the North American side of Ty's career. We're now going to fly over to Austria. You said in part 1 that you received an offer from Graz. You didn't think too much on it. You just signed it and moved over. What were your first expectations actually moving to Graz and moving to Austria?
You know what? We were so excited. And the first thing that popped into my head there was on Apple Maps. If you type in a city or whatever, you can click a flyover tour. And I did that with the city of Graz like 100 times before we went over there. So whenever I would show my friends or something where we were going, I would like type Graz in, do the flyover tour, show them the Schlossberg, like where our apartments were, where the Merkur Ice Stadium was, like everything. I would just kind of zoom in on the city. So we're so excited. Had no clue what the apartments were gonna be like. Didn't know there was no air conditioning. Had no idea what our team was gonna be like. We were pretty clueless, but that ignorance is bliss. That was the case there. So my wife and I and our son Isaiah and our dog were just happy to go on an adventure.
Did you find it easy settling in Austria?
I would say that's a good question. For me, easier probably than Bailey, and be just because I immediately have the locker room right away. You know, it's easier for the guys than it is for the wives and girlfriends and stuff. But it wasn't hard. I guess I'll say that. I don't remember if it was easy. The hardest part was no air conditioning in the summers. We weren't used to that. So when we first walked into our apartment, we went to Martin. What's Martin's? Martin, I can't remember his last name. He was working with the club. And I said, Martin, where's the air conditioner? And he went to the window and opened it up. He's like, there's your air conditioner. So that was kind of funny. But the food was amazing. The city, Graz is, I think, my favorite city in Austria, which is maybe a little crazy to say, but um, it wasn't easy, but it was just a change, you know?
Yeah, so you were certainly in a great spot when you're coming over from North America. Was
Yeah.
this your first time in Europe?
It was not. I went to Europe on a family trip whenever I was like 14 or 16. We went to England, Germany, Holland, and France. We spent a little bit of time over there as a family. So that was my first experience, but I didn't remember it much. So going to Graz was like, just a cannonball in the deep end of just going. We really hadn't had much of a taste. And my wife had never even left America prior to that. Bailey
Oh,
had never even been to Mexico, Canada, nothing. So her first time leaving the US was to live in another country.
how was your German skills?
When I first got there, so we had these little apps you can do on like your phone that you're just supposed to teach you, and it didn't do anything. It was like Brot, Vasa, like V Gates, but it didn't help at all. It was so simple. When I got there, I don't think my German improved in year one, honestly, at all. Like my time with Graz, my German was so bad. And those guys speak such a slang, like Oberkofler in the locker room. Obi's German, I couldn't understand it at all. It was just so fluid and just such a different style. So it was really hard to pick up his dialect. Um, but it was a fun experience trying to learn it. But I didn't really learn German until year 3 and 4. I picked it up pretty good.
Moving on to the actual arena and facilities, when you first stepped into the Merkur Ice Stadium, what did you think? Were you impressed by it? Because it's quite a shiny little arena they have
Yeah.
going on there. Did anyone show you around?
Yeah, I right away walked in. I was super pumped. The everything had been kind of redone. I think that was year 2 that it had been redone. So I loved it. I mean, beautiful facility, great stadium. The bunker, which when my first year learned that it was called the bunker, and I thought that was the coolest nickname for a rink. And it was great. Really loved the rink. it was yeah, like I said, going into it kind of blind, I was really happy with what we walked into.
Were you familiar with any of the guys before you moved there?
Friends with guys, played against guys, knew people that knew people, stuff like that. But I didn't know anybody until I just met them. That was kind of it. So, and then we had a good group of guys that year that had a lot of friends, a lot of unique guys. We were kind of a mess, but it worked out really well that we just bonded. So it was a good group that year.
So when it comes to match nights, how would you compare the atmosphere in North America to the games over in Austria?
Not even close. No comparison. It's like night and day. So much better in Europe. I mean, in North America, you get a couple like, let's go Pens or let's go Leafs, whatever it is, but that's kind of it. I mean, I've heard Montreal is an amazing place to go for a game. The atmosphere there is like more European, is what guys say. But in the experiences. Like I remember we played Nitra in a preseason game, and they brought like all their fans and the drums and everything. I thought this is insane. So I loved it. Like the soccer atmosphere in the hockey rinks was so cool, and we were really good that year. So we won a lot of home games, and the fans loved it. The city loved it. So it was packed a lot, especially against Katze and Vienna. Um, I'm trying to think. Linz, like the building was electric. It was really cool. So I enjoyed that part a lot.
I like the reference also to Nitra there. That's one of my favorite trips. I just absolutely love the atmosphere in that really rusty, falling down barn.
Yeah, those fans were awesome. That was a really good first experience because they brought the noise.
What were your first impressions then on playing with Austrian hockey players?
I was impressed. The guys were faster than I thought they were going to be. Like their skating ability. I mean, we had Lucas Kynes on that team, Dominic Grafentine, who's German Austrian, um, Oberkofler, who else? Like Setzinger, obviously elite.
Yeah.
Setzi's a ridiculously talented individual. He was just insane what he could do on the ice. And then we had like Motorer, who's just a good fourth line guy, good teammate to have. I'm trying to think of the other Austrians on that team. Um, Up front forwards. That's all I can think of for right now. But the guys were good skaters. Like Eric Kirschlager was a defenseman for us. He could skate well. So yeah, the guys they could move and they were all pretty strong.
And this might be a weird question. Maybe it's stating the obvious for some, so I'm going to approach it in a different way. How would you compare so you actually moved to Austria in the EBEL era before it
Yep.
was the Win2Day ICE Hockey League. How would you compare the standard to North America? Because you have your experience in the ECHL and the AHL, and of
Hmm.
course the AHL is full of like stacked talent.
Yep.
Where does where does the EBEL Win2Day ICE Hockey League kind of sit?
That's a good question. I feel like the top end talent in the American League, like what you're saying, is just so elite. Half those guys could probably be in the NHL. But when you look at like the EBEL, there was a lot of ex-NHLers playing in that league too. I mean, like Dwight King was on our team.
Yeah.
Oliver Setzinger had the ability to play in the NHL. Really, his skill was that good. We had guys that played in the SHL in the past and in the first Czech league. Like Curtis Hamilton played for a while in the American League and in a game or so in the NHL. So I would say that the top end talent was definitely there. The biggest difference was the drop off. Like the bad teams in the league at that time, the bad players on the bad teams, that was the big drop off there. Like the good clubs, Klagenfurt, Vienna. Whenever I first came in, Klagenfurt, Vienna, Linz, Graz, Bolzano was good that year. There was a lot of good talent there. Mike Blunden was on Bolzano. I think he played for a while in the NHL. So um, the top teams were good, and the talent was really solid. So I would say it was like a mix between the AHL and the ECHL. I would say that would be a comparison. Yeah, and the ECHL is a great league in North America too. I think it's a bit underrated. It's just the drop off at certain points of the year can be make the league not so great. and the professionalism sometimes can be not as high, but there's good players in the ECHL. I mean, there's a lot of guys that go from the ECHL to end up having awesome European careers. A couple of them sprinkle up to the NHL here and there. So the ECHL has got some hidden gems for sure.
So going into your first season with the Graz 99ers, 2018-2019, you had 52 games and you had 25 plus 25, so 50 points overall. What did you enjoy most in your first season, and what did you learn?
What did I enjoy most? I enjoyed not having the pressure of being in North America with getting called up or sent down, just playing, just to go out there and work hard without, thinking you're going to be moved across the country or something like that. So having that sort of the comfort of you're going to be in that room, hopefully that bed for the rest of the year, that was pretty enjoyable. And the game was just a little bit different, more spread out, a little bit less physical. Um, that was fun. And like I said, the energy, the atmospheres in the rinks was just awesome. Like you go to Linz or Klagenfurt or Vienna, like you don't get that in North America. So that was even like Bolzano, same thing. So that was pretty sweet. I enjoyed that a lot. And the group we had was just such a good group of guys. Such a fun group of human beings. And we just had a really good time that year while we were winning a lot of games. So that just made things just even better.
So I've got to ask then, you said you've got some great guys on there. Who was the prankster in the team?
The prankster was Hammy, Curtis Hamilton, no question. I don't think, and he knows that as well. I don't think Hammy's brain ever turned off ever. I think that thing was just buzzing all day, every day, always chirping, always kind of like grumpy, sarcastic. But the guys in the room liked him a lot. He was a funny guy in the team.
What was the most like intense games for you, like team wise? Like who did you find with the toughest like games?
Bolzano always played hard. They were physical that year. They were pretty big and heavy. Linz, we kind of had their number that year. We had Salzburg's number that year too. Vienna, I would say Vienna. They were probably the toughest team to play against that year for us. They were heavy, they were fast. I mean, Dave Cameron was their coach, and obviously they were going to work hard, or else they were going to work hard in practice. So, well, they were going to do both, but they were probably the toughest team to play against. Actually, I would say Vienna.
I want to ask about a few of the guys in Graz because, of course, you just said that there's some great guys. I want to Yellowhorn, like, how is he?
Horny was such an interesting guy. We had a good relationship. I mean, everybody on the team got along with Colton really well. He was a nice guy. He loved to play cards, loved to have fun, was always relaxed. Horny had this saying about pizza. He was eating a pizza after the games, and I was like, "Man, can we get something else besides pizza?" He says, "Lone, sometimes you just got to put a little grease on the wheels." That's what he said. But he was funny. He was a good guy, good teammate. Like he really liked to have a good time, and he was my centerman for most of the year. And we'd be in the D zone, and I would look to try to figure out where he was, and then he wasn't behind me or beside me. He'd be out by the blue line, like looking for a breakaway pass or something. But he was good to play with if you needed to put up some points, and he was a good player. He was skilled.
Who else would you like to give an honorable shout out to in that team?
Gosh, I mean, honestly, that was such a good group of guys. I mean, Garbs was awesome. Oberkofler was great. Travis Alexic was amazing. Kinger was such a great teammate. He was incredible. Hammy was awesome. Robert Jacobson was what a great Swede he was. I had a great time with him. He was amazing. His family was amazing. Matt Cato was fun to be around. Setzinger was great. Robert Weihager was great. I know I'm probably missing. Callie Johansson was awesome. We picked him up late. The goalies were amazing teammates. Thomas Hunekel and Robin Rom. From top to bottom, that was just a good group, good team to be on. We had so much fun. And I know I'm missing some guys, and I'm sorry for the guys that I missed.
Is it moving to the big city, the big capital, Vienna?
We were really excited. We didn't really know what to expect. We We were really excited though. That I mean, that rink is that's a great rink to play in. Really is great rink to play in. The ice is a bit soft sometimes, and if you're playing an early game, the sun comes in and blinds you. You got to play games with sunglasses. But besides that, it's a great rink to play in. The fans are awesome. A lot of support from the city, and we had a that was again the teams I was on there was a really good, welcoming group of people. So we were very fortunate to have the time spent in those in that city as well.
I wanted to give firstly a shout out to Mario Fischer and Nicky Hartl, who have just
Mm,
announced their retirement from the game. I We have to start the conversation with Vienna on these two legends for Vienna.
sure. Yeah, we'll start with Nicky. He was one of the funniest teammates I think I ever had. I don't even know if he always tried to be funny, but he made me laugh every single day. Um, I was so happy to see him in the locker room. He would just work so hard, always happy. Really underrated player, I thought. I always thought I was like, Nicky, you should have 15, 20 goals a year. His shot was great, good skater. He was impressive to me right away, but he was a great teammate. Really fun to be around. And then Fishy was a good leader. He worked hard. He was as Dave Cameron would say, he worked hard. And he was just a beast. Loved to compete. Sometimes probably competed a little bit too hard, but that's just the way he did things. And he was a leader, and he wanted to make sure guys were working hard. And I really enjoyed having a couple of years with Fishy as well because he always had your back against teams. He was tough to play against, and he made me better on the ice for sure. So I really enjoyed him as a teammate.
A guy I have to mention, I really like this player, Riley Holtzapfel.
Yeah, Riles,
What did you like playing
legend.
with him?
Oh, what a great guy. So relaxed, so calm all the time. Never really got too worked up. Definitely a greasy sewer ball soccer player before the game. I remember one time in Vienna, I made I did a blind voting list. I went around the room and so sewer ball is like a game you warm up with before the game. You kick a soccer ball around in a circle and you try to get each other out. So we had this team my first year of characters. I mean, it was Kyle Bond, Mark Flood, Mike Zaleski, Riley Holtzapfel, Nicky Hartle. Who are the good soccer players on that team? Sasha Bauer was a good soccer player. Um, then Ryan Zalapsky, what is Zap's last name?
Sapolsky.
Zapolsky. Gosh, sorry, Zaps. We had such a unique group of players on that team. Like the imports were hilarious. So Marc-Andre Dorion, hilarious. So I went around the room and I said, guys, who do you think is the greasiest sewer ball player on the team? And everyone would put their votes in. And so at the end, I was just like, listen, this is blind. I'm just going to be honest at the end. So at the end, I think the greasiest two guys were Dory and Riles, which was hilarious because those are like the nicest guys on the team. So quiet. And they didn't believe it, I don't think, but it was really, really funny. But that was a hilarious group of guys to be around. Riles, what a player, too. Such a good shot, hated to shoot, loved to pass. Great player, so strong on his stick.
Speaking of plays, then, and I think this guy, I'm going to put it out there, is one of my favorite guys to watch skate, and that is Alex Wall.
Oh, Wally. Left him off the list. He's a greasy Super Bowl player, too. Wally is a unbelievable teammate, and his we would do bag skates, and Sondre Olden was on our team too. He's a good Super Bowl player, but he would Wally and Oldie would skate, bag skate, and they would just be like gliding, floating on the ice. And we're over there with Dave Cameron's bag skates, grinding. Your hips feel like they're going to fall off. You can't breathe. And these two guys are just whizzing by, just a Sunday stroll. It was incredible. But Wally's skating was great to watch. So fast, powerful, so good on his edges. Just when he shot the puck, it wouldn't make it to the net in the air. He needs to just work on his upper body strength.
Second, let's ask you about Vienna. What did you think, like the city? What were your favorite things to do?
I mean, the palaces were amazing, obviously. Schönbrunn, we always took people there when they came to visit. Going up top to Schönbrunn at the back there at that little area was
Yeah,
really cool, making the walk up. That was so cool. Um, we were at Praterstern for the like Oktoberfest thing. I forget what they called it there. but that was really fun. That was a blast. We went to the Donau Zentrum Park. Is that what it's called? Donau Zentrum Park?
What, by the Danube?
Yeah. Like yeah, that park. It's like, is it the island or no, no.
The island,
Yeah,
Donauinsel.
Insel, but then the park that had the big has the big tower on it.
Oh, um,
I think it's the Donau Zentrum Park,
it's
right?
it's I've forgotten the name of it.
Ah,
I only live in
well,
Vienna.
we went to that park all the time just to get some greenery, get some trees, some grass. Our son would just run around. We'd walk the dog there. So we went there a ton in the summertime. And when it was hot, when we were there, we would go on those little electric boats on the Alta Donau, just kind of cruise
Yeah, that's
around.
fun.
That was fun. But we like to go downtown by like Schwedenplatz is where we'd get off. And there was a really good gelato place right off Schwedenplatz. I can't remember
Oh
it
yeah.
now. So
Did
good.
it have like the red barriers out the front? Long red barriers. Did it have that?
I think so. It was like I don't know, some type of blanket or cloak you'd like walk. I forget. I can't remember. You might be right. But their gelato was amazing. We'd always get their gelato. And we would just get lost, kind of like walk around. The Hofburg Imperial Palace was one of my favorite buildings. We would just walk, you could go anywhere, take a turn wherever you want, and it would just be a beautiful street.
Oh, it's a very beautiful historic city. Like anywhere you look,
Yeah,
wonderful in that first district.
yeah, incredible.
What was your favorite restaurant?
Ooh, I know my favorite restaurant. Obviously, we liked going to Fiegelmühle, I think was the Austrian,
Yeah.
the classic. You get a schnitzel there, and it's like the size of an elephant's ear. It's like this big, smashed on a plate. Um, my favorite restaurant besides Saffron, which was the place that had the what they have the Durhams and stuff,
Is that the Iranian
was
place?
yeah, it is. That's where Alex Wall ate every single meal. It's kind of throwing Wally under the bus. Wally, I'm sorry. Um, Nenny down at the what's the outdoor district? What's that called again? Why can't I remember it?
The what district, sorry?
The outdoor food where they have the something market.
Nashmarkt.
Noshmarkt. Oh, the Nenny down there to Noshmarkt. I don't know
That's
if you've been
nice.
yet. Oh
Yeah.
man. Wow. So good. That was our favorite, I think.
Nice. Let's go into some more hockey now because
Sure.
Dave Cameron, I mean, you've referenced him so many times. He must have been a character. He's gone on to do
Yes.
some great things as well in hockey.
Yeah, character. He would try to break you down and hopefully you'd build yourself back up because you're not going to get a ton of uplifting necessarily from Dave on the ice. But man, I love Dave. I know a lot of people, and I hated him when he was pushing me through it until I realized that he was not doing it because he hated you. He was doing it because he wanted to see you succeed. Um, I learned that I loved him as a coach. He pushed me so hard. I never had more intense meetings one on one with a coach than with Dave. That was pretty crazy. Um, but you knew you were coming to work every day and you had to work hard. And we were on a skid once in January. We lost a couple games in a row, or maybe just played bad. We probably won, but we didn't win by like enough. He didn't think we worked hard enough. And we had to come in for a week before we played against Salzburg, 2 a days. I think video started at like 7:30 or 8 a.m. So we had to come in at like 7. And then we did video, then a skate, and we came back in later in the day for a workout and a skate. And that was the middle of the season in like January, where we should be like probably resting. And we were coming in just getting crushed. And then we went on and we played Salzburg in Salzburg that week and beat them like 8-1. Like, of course. So Dave was intense. He was hard. The Austrian guys could go on for hours talking about Dave and the stuff he would say, the things he would do. So I will remember him forever, but I like him a lot as a human being. Some guys had their reasons to maybe like him less, but I enjoyed my time with him.
Speaking of characters, then, and I don't know the guy, but just I can tell by videos and on his on ice antics. What was it like with Rafa Rotter?
Raph, great teammate. Like came to the locker room. happy every day, worked really hard, loved doing upper body workouts, and a good player, like smart hockey player, knows the game well, really good, like knows where to be. A really good teammate. Sucks he had those injuries, his ankles and feet, because yes, like just a good player, really good passer, great pass. He would hold the puck in a corner, you couldn't knock him over because he was so strong, and he would just cut back, and find a guy in the slot with a little pass. But he was a really funny teammate to have on the team.
Unsung heroes.
Nicky Hartle's got to be on that list. Nis was my centerman. Well, my first year or second year or both years.
Both years.
Okay. Let's go with my first year. Like Zaleski was so good. Loved playing with him. Me, him, and Ali were a really good line. We had a lot of fun together. So that was, got to shout those guys out. Um, Dominic Hackle, I think, is one of the best skating defensemen in the league.
Agreed.
I think they almost told him to be too physical, which I don't think his game is physical. I think he should just use his speed to cut guys off. But he's such a good skater. He's got a pretty good shot too. And he's been through some crazy injuries as well. So great teammate, great skater. I liked Hax's game. Let me try to go down the list. My first year, I mean, the guys worked really hard. Sasha Bauer always worked hard. Nicky Hartle was a great guy to have on the team. I would have to say Nicky, as far as kind of did a little bit of everything. Like he would penalty kill. If he had a chance, he'd be on the power play and he would do well. I mean, he was a hard worker. I would say Nicky that year, first year in Vienna, I would say was the unsung hero of that team.
You must look at the Austrian teams, and each club has that like real solid core of homegrown players. And I've always felt that Vienna at that kind of era and a few years before always had a really, really solid core of Austrian guys.
Yeah, I think they took advantage of what's the right way? They maybe underappreciated those guys. That's what it felt like for me. I think they just expected them to stay home. And then the guys were just like, hey, we want to, get paid what we're worth. We want to go win, because it kind of felt like Vienna was just keeping them there, kind of keeping them there, and maybe not giving them what they deserved. So I think them leaving was just a chance to spread their wings and just develop and go do their own thing. Because, like Ali, Nis, I mean, those are, am I miss? I mean, Schneid's obviously played there as well, and those guys are
Yeah.
great players. So for them to go from Vienna to end up being in Red Bull, obviously Red Bull has a higher, they can pay players more. That's not exactly a secret. So them going there was because of that. But those guys, I mean, they had some good talent there. They had some really good talent there. So if Vienna can find a way to bring that talent back up again and, keep those guys around, they can get that really good group going again.
Favorite memory from your time in Vienna?
Honestly, just the guys. Well, how about this? Off ice too. We had amazing friends in Vienna. We had I'll shout out the Parashevs. Um, that was our family friends that turned into family there. They're a Bulgarian family that moved to Vienna like 20 years ago or so. And they've just an unbelievable family. We love them so much. They helped us whenever our daughter Vienna was born in Vienna. They brought us to the hospital and watched Isaiah when we were there. So they were just such a loving family. Their boys were great to Isaiah. They were like brothers to him. So we loved them. Always hung out with them at their flat and stuff like that. So that was fun. And then obviously the fans in Vienna were amazing and the teammates were amazing. So as a whole, we just enjoyed our time in Vienna. Like everything was great. We really liked being there.
That's actually a really, really nice answer. I like that you've given like a contrast of everything and put it together. You made it over then to Mozartland. What was that like? Like, that is a really, really nice place for anyone that visits Austria. I mean, you said Graz is your favorite place. I mean, Vienna's a lovely spot. Salzburg's a great spot.
Mm.
What were your first impressions moving there? I know I'm being repetitive asking, but you've gone to three
No.
great places.
Yeah, totally different too. Graz, just the city of Graz is just something about it. I don't know what it is. It's just the size of it. It's big enough, but then you go to Salzburg. I mean, it's like a fairy tale. It's beautiful. The mountains, the fortress right up top there. And obviously being with Red Bull, the things we got to do just being with that company, you just get to experience amazing situations and that you wouldn't do with other teams. So that right away was really obvious. And the guys, that was just such a good team. The first week of practice, it was like, oh, well, this team's going to win the championship. I mean, we were so good. That first year we were incredible, the lineup we had. And then we bring in a guy like Keegan Kanzig, who is just
Of
a
course.
monster, and what a great teammate Keegs was too, and just to police the ice for us. And then we had guys like our playoff roster was insane. We don't have to talk about that right now, but the city was so nice. We had a great apartment there. It was so easy to get around in the city. Take a bus or something. It would take you 10 minutes to get downtown. Walk around's really nice, really easily. Great restaurants. So everything about Salzburg was wonderful.
And how are the facilities? Everyone's going to assume that Red Bull have top facilities, and I don't get to see these as kind of a spectator of the game.
Mhm.
What are the facilities like? Because Red Bull produce like solid talent.
Well, the academy is insane, obviously. Like the Red Bull Academy is amazing. The rink is, I mean, the rink's pretty old. It's not like it's that big. It's not too flashy, but the ice is always amazing. So that was nice. And the locker room was good. It was fine. I mean, I wouldn't say that the Red Bull facilities were like beautiful and amazing and huge and flashy, but they were solid. They were good. They had everything that we needed, and it worked. So they did something right. Like the weight room was good, locker room was good. There was a sauna and a cold tub and everything. Like they had everything you needed. And I think they've been maybe talking about doing some renovations at some point or building a bigger rink. I don't know. Maybe I'm lying. So hopefully nobody holds me to that. But I like that rink a lot. It was kind of smaller, but the ice was so good. That was for sure the best ice in the league, I think.
I could only see it from that away section, which is like a cage. Did you ever look up at that little cage in the corner
Yeah.
behind the net?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
they got it. Yeah, no, the next time you go there, you'll get some better seats.
so you've played with like some guys from Vienna there. You had Ali Vukovic, who was what probably along with yourself, two of the guys that I really enjoyed to watch in Vienna, amongst
Mhm.
many others, to be fair. You went with him, Benjamin Nisner, wasn't it?
Yep.
David Kicker, was he already in Salzburg at the
I
time?
think Kix was in Linz before. I think he
Was
went
he?
from Linz to Salzburg.
I can't. I'm trying to.
JP was there the year before I got there, and then he was there.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're thinking of JP.
yeah. What a netminder. Let's now you
Yeah.
brought him up. Let's talk about him. I watched his interview on the Win2Day ICE Hockey League. I've never seen a guy with such like amazing memory, like moment for moment. Like that guy's
Yeah. Detailed, very
incredible.
detailed, loved to
Yeah,
prepare, loved to work hard. He had a great regiment. He stuck to it. I mean, there's a reason why he was a good goalie for 17 years over there.
is honestly the one of the most intelligent human beings in the hockey world that I've heard speak.
Yeah, he loves hockey, loves to study the game, loves to research the game. He is definitely a student of the game.
Did you feel then? I've always felt moving to Austria that there's kind of like that everyone against Red Bull mentality. Did you feel that on the ice that the opposition always like were intense at you?
For sure. I mean, that's every time I played against Red Bull, that's the way I felt. I always wanted to beat them and show them that I was, better than them because I knew that they were probably, they maybe had a bigger budget. They had nicer stuff. They were Red Bull. It's like everyone thinks they're the best. So you always, and then once I went there, I realized everyone plays their best games against you because they want to probably be, most guys in your position, they want to beat you. If you're the best team, they want to beat the best team. So, I think you definitely felt that a little bit. Guys, I think feel like the Red Bull guys are a little bit spoiled. That's the way I felt until I went there and I realized how hard those guys work. And those are the hardest working guys I've been around probably ever. So they earn it. Like they work really, really hard. So the competitiveness against the other teams was upped a little bit, I think, being with Red Bull.
You also were, I think anyone in Austrian hockey will know these two guys. You were fortunate enough to play with Brian Lebler and, of course, himself, Thomas Raffel.
When we picked up Lebs at the end there, I couldn't believe it when he came to our team. Let's just say this, like those guys are built like armored tanks, and I was built like a used bicycle. whenever I looked at those guys. They were huge. They were monsters. And Lebs and I used to always have these battles where I would try to cross check him and he would get me in the lower back and I'd get him whenever we played against each other. And then when he joined the team, I realized he had this, sorry, Lebs, if I call you out something bad here, maybe, I don't know if this is too much information. He had this extra pad on his shoulder pads that hung down. So he like was protected in his lower back and like ribs. So I couldn't hurt him there, but he kept hurting me. And I was like, man, this guy must not feel pain or something. I didn't know he had an extra armory on his shoulder pads hanging down there. And then Raf, the same thing. I mean, he's just an absolute beast. I mean, he's just a beast. Got to be the strongest guy in a team. Such a unit, can skate like the wind, and so strong that if he wants the puck, he's just going to get the puck. That's just what it is. So having those guys on the team in playoffs, I mean, there was no chance we were going to get beat that year.
They're like the same height and weight, pretty much, give or take, as well.
Yeah, probably. But then you have, Raf, Lebs, Ali, Schneids. I'm trying to think, and then like Paul Huber's a beast, Mario Huber's a beast, Peter Hochhofler. I mean, just as just like big, strong guy. And then you have obviously a Baltram Nis, my whatever, and Miksa Jarvinen. That everybody worked hard, everyone was strong, everyone was a good hockey player. But the guys they had there were just strong and big. Like they were just physically dominant.
Let's talk more on the road and get an idea of like what was the most intimidating place and what was the best atmosphere.
That best atmosphere was Lynn's for sure.
Yeah.
Loud every time. Klagenfurt, actually, they had a great atmosphere as well. Usually Gratz's atmosphere was good. Usually Vienna's atmosphere was good. I loved going to Innsbruck because they had a while where they had some good fans too. I like that rink a lot. I liked going everywhere to play. The only place that I feel like I struggled playing in was Klagenfurt, and I don't know. I know why their bench is like 4 feet long. That's the size of their bench that all the players had to fit in. But they were such a good team to play against too. But I loved playing in their rink because their fans were, a bit nuts. And that was a challenging game always. So I feel like I enjoyed to go to every rink to play. I love playing in Graz and I love playing in Vienna. Obviously, after I played there, those were fun games to go play in. So, but Innsbruck, I liked going there just because it was so beautiful.
You're in such a beautiful spot, and you're actually lucky in Salzburg where you're kind of located because you're
Yeah.
kind of central.
Hmm.
So like you're like the halfway point instead of going from like what was it Fehérvár in Hungary?
Yeah.
Like every game's
I
a
love
trek.
playing in Fehérvár too. I love playing at their rink. They had great fans. I can't forget about them. Um, all the rinks were fun to play in. But yeah, you're in Bolzano or Pustertal or Fehérvár, and you're just traveling and everywhere across the country.
And that gives you a good glimpse of just how beautiful the rest of the country is. It's literally one massive city in Vienna and then just small cities and
Yeah.
mountains.
Yeah, I love the drives. I would always be stuck to the window looking out, and the guys would get annoyed with me because I would just say, "Guys, this is not normal. This is beautiful. This isn't how the world works."
You got a taste of the championship actually with Salzburg. How
Yep.
was that to win, to come over to Austria? This was I think it would have been your
Fo- Yep. Fourth year.
fourth year, and you were the championship.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we had such a good group of guys on that team, and I know I keep talking about that, but that was such a fun, good group of guys. We were so good. Our coaches were great. We knew we were going to win, and so it was it was when we won, it was almost sad in a way, like bittersweet that it was over because you just wish you could just keep playing with that group that we had. Everyone was pulling the rope the right way. Everyone was a good guy. Everyone was a good guy to have in the locker room, good guy to play cards with on the bus. So that was a great year. It was sad to see it come to an end, but obviously was happy that we were able to win that first championship to set the fire there. It was really fun to be a part of.
Do you get a lot of time outside of the games and training to bond together?
I think you kind of just do it on the bus. The bus is crucial to talk and play cards and have fun and just do whatever. And then you try to set up some team functions away from the rink, maybe a couple times a year away from the rink. And other than that, you'll just have some dinners with some guys here and there throughout the season sprinkled in. So, you see each other essentially every day. And if you can have that solid culture where you're all doing the right thing for the right reasons, then for the most part, you're going to have a good chemistry, a good foundation.
Wow, that sounds like a great time in Salzburg.
Thanks again, Mark. What a great time. So happy to be a part of this journey with the Euro Hockey Hub. We got some great names lined up here in the future, some good guys to interview. It's going to be a blast. We're really happy that the clubs and organizations so far are on board. We're going to bring some light, some fun, unique stories, and just a good time here to the show. I think the fans, I think the teams, everyone's going to love it. So thanks for this partnership, and I think we're going to keep this good thing rolling.
Honestly, it's a pleasure to have you on board, and I've enjoyed this part 2, learning about your Austrian side of the hockey journey. Thanks again for being on, and yeah, we've got a lot more to bring you guys. Thanks for listening.
It's going to be great.